Vegeta is literally just like me, man. Dragon Ball Daima proved to me that there is a problem with modern Dragon Ball that still is very prevalent. And now before you guys go say that, oh, you're just a hater, you hate anything new with Dragon Ball, you're a Dragon Ball Z tard, no one's gonna listen to you. You are right about one thing, I am a hater. But that doesn't mean I hate Dragon Ball in its entirety, that doesn't mean I hate Dragon Ball and I'm not open to seeing new possibilities or where the shows could go from here. I think there are a lot of things that modern Dragon Ball does with its stories now that I do find very intriguing. They're very interesting. However, there is a glaring problem that I thought Daima would fix, but sadly it didn't. And that is the continued mixing of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, and all their narrative storytelling devices being mixed into one. On the surface, that doesn't sound like it will be a problem. It just sounds like the writer, Akira Toriyama or Toyotaro, they're just incorporating different elements from what worked from each individual series of Dragon Ball. But that's not necessarily the case. There is a reason why Dragon Ball jokes are different from Dragon Ball Z. Different story, different setting, different tone. And I personally think that Akira Toriyama, before he passed away and as he was writing Daima, he wanted to go back to telling those old stories of Dragon Ball. He wanted the low-risk joke and storytelling feel of old Dragon Ball, but he also wanted to mix in the occasional serious tone of Dragon Ball Z. And it just doesn't work like that. There's a reason why Dragon Ball Z works so well, it's because it didn't have those narrative exploits of the old Dragon Ball, because they wouldn't work in this setting. Daima proves that you cannot pick and choose and mix whatever different type of storytelling that you want in different Dragon Ball mediums. Then there's also the problem that people have different iterations of Dragon Ball and Goku that they like. For example, people like Movie Goku. Movie Goku is not canon Goku, I'm sorry. As cool as it is to see Goku punch someone to the fucking sun or end their entire bloodline with a spirit bomb, that's not how Goku typically operates in these settings. Same thing with Ocean Dub and other dubs of Dragon Ball Z, or like Hero Goku. It's like, yo, Hero Goku's cool, the whole Light of the Universe shit, great, awesome speech. That's not Goku. There's a lot of hands in the cookie jar and no one seems to ever want to take their hand out because there's a bunch of fat people trying to eat cookies. Not my best analogy, but stick with me. The entire story of Dragon Ball seems to be suffering from the continued mixing of different elements from the previous series, the new series, and just like anything in between. And this is not me saying that you can't take certain story elements or certain story beats from like Dragon Ball or GT and then try to put it in Super or put it in Daima or whatever have you. I'm not saying that. You can do that. You see elements of that in the Super manga, and I think it works fine there. And part of the reason why it works is because Toyotaro is a fan. He's not Akira Toriyama, so he doesn't have that writing style ingrained in his head. Toyotaro is simply either mimicking or picking and choosing what aspects he liked of old Dragon Ball and throwing it into Super. Where the issue with Akira Toriyama is that he seems to actually miss those old days. He wants to go back of telling like the old stories of Dragon Ball. And it's like he will start writing Dragon Ball Daima, or he'll start writing a Dragon Ball story, which seems like it has the tonal shift of Z, but then it has all the element aspects of like old Dragon Ball, and it just doesn't work. Is it to say that Daima was horrible? No. Daima does not make me want to go shoot myself. Daima's not like this horrible piece of fiction that Hitler himself made. I don't think it's that. But is Daima everything it's hyped up to be? No. I think the reason why people like Daima is because you have different Dragon Ball fans, like I was hinting at earlier, and Daima just does so much so fast that it pleases everyone in a sense. Action, raging, screaming, colorful lights of Super, you have that in Daima. If you like the weird old jokes, the old weird perverted jokes, the goofy story writing of Dragon Ball, you're gonna like that in Daima. If you like the random lock-in moments and fight scenes of Dragon Ball Z, you have that in Daima. But for the longevity of Dragon Ball, I don't see this working, because eventually you're not going to be able to please everyone. It's going to be the same thing that the Sonic community had a problem with, where everybody wanted something different. People wanted the classic era of Sonic games, people wanted the Dreamcast era of Sonic games, and then people wanted the modern level of Sonic games. And I think eventually Dragon Ball will reach that point, and I hope that the people at Toei and Shueisha and anyone else who is in charge of Dragon Ball catches this before it gets too far. But overall, do I think Daima was bad? No, it wasn't horrible. I think it was an okay experience. I think it was okay at its worst moments and subpar to good at its best. Anyways, I know you guys are in the comments probably typing the most abysmal slurs that you can think of at me, calling me out my name, and probably typing slurs that would make Frieza himself smile. But I hope you guys can actually have an educated and well-discussed dialogue in my comment section. I am Brand the Man. I do talk about animes, movies, comics, games, books, anything nerdy, I talk about it. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next one. Toodles.